Well, good morning and welcome to the Brekkie with the Guy Who Sews. Today is Saturday, the 11th of November, 2022. Can you believe it's November already? Like, to
I
me, it's kind of
know.
like, it's almost like I feel like it's still September. But that means I'd still have to be getting ready for the state fair. So maybe it's a good thing it's November. But anyway, enough about me. I brought along one of my very good friends. She's been watching the channel for a long time. She's always in the chat, and I am super excited to have her join me this morning. It is none other than Jamie from the Quilting Compound. So do you want to say good morning or good evening? Because we may have some folks here from the other side of the world. And just tell us a bit more about yourself and your channel.
Okay, so I'm Jamie. I live in Kentucky. I'm married for 31 years. Can y'all believe that? I've got two kids. One's 30, and I have a little grandbaby, and I have a daughter who's getting married in January. So everybody's going to hear about that on my channel because I am the matron of honor. Oh, so, and I think I've been sewing for off and on for, I think it's 23 years, off and on. I took a long break in there. So, and upcoming on my channel, I've got a charm pack quilt coming. Well, it's going to be more than one, but and a jelly roll because I would not use a jelly roll for forever, and now I can't get away from them. So that's what's coming up with me.
That's very cool. And I'm going to put your link in the chat as well. Guess who Nancy is asking what part of Kentucky, because I believe she's from Kentucky as well. So you might be neighbors and not know about it.
Yeah, I live near Bardstown. I'm about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes north. And then I'm in between Louisville and Bardstown. So High Grove area, if anybody knows
Okay.
where that is. If
Not
Laura V is
really.
on here, I know she does because she lives in Taylorsville, which
Sorry, who
is
was that?
not that far. Laura V, she's on some of I see her.
Yeah, I haven't seen her pop in yet, but she might be flirting around. But let's see who is here. Yes, I was going to say Fallon says she loves charm pack quilts too. I think she's working on something similar, and I think Becca is on her channel as well. So yeah, the pre-cuts are fantastic because it's already
Yeah.
cut. You don't have to sit there and mess with it. It's not something I do a lot of, but it's something I need to look into very, very soon. But then I keep seeing all those tiny little pieces from Artie's Quilting Co. and Elizabeth Hartman, and I'm like, that's what I want to do. But anyway, let's. I'm
Not just an
crazy.
Elizabeth Hartman. I have not done any of those paper piecing patterns, or you all call it FPP. When I started, it was just paper piecing.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
And you're going to show us a little bit of some of those in a little bit, I believe. But let's
yeah,
just see who's here with
damn
us
tough.
already. It looks like my friend Donna from Dragonflies for Donna is here with us. And I have to separate because we have like 4 Donnas now. She said she's looking forward to seeing what I'm working on today. And I have a few different projects that we'll see how much we get done. Beverly Akins is here. My friend Pasita from the Toronto area is here with us. Donna Dixon. See, I told you there's more than one Donna already. Gloria Carlson is here from Chile, King William, Virginia. She's like an hour and a half up the road from me. And I actually get to go and see her again in a couple of weeks. I'm really, really excited about that. Teresa is here, my mate Russ from Quilt Meets World, exclamation point Russ. He has a wonderful channel as well. Go check him out. He says, good morning, Sean, Jamie, and everybody, at least till I have to shower and get the pup to her annual vet visit. Oh, poor puppy. Cynthia Maria Field, Joythy is here with us. She says, good morning from North Carolina. Good morning, neighbor. Guess who, Nancy? We talked about her. Fallon is here. Janine. Guys Craft 2, they say good morning, Sean, up early this morning. That is my friends John and Curtis, and they are actually out in the Phoenix area, so it's like before sunrise out there. So yeah, they are
Oh
definitely
wow!
up. I am super
I want
excited.
to go there one day. One day, I want to go
I know
out
I
there.
want to go out there too. And now if I go out there, I'll have a couple of buddies to hang out with, so that'll be really cool. My mate Rob from Quilting in the Man Cave is here with us this morning. Christine, Jeannie E, Kathy Hutchins. Let's see. Did I miss? Lindsay Andrus.
I just knew I turned that phone.
Guess who Nancy says? She says, I know you're about 4 hours away from her. Sweet Granny. Joyce is here with us. And I think I caught everybody. Oh, my mate Stephen from Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter is here as well. And you can hit exclamation point Stephen for him. If you want to check out Jamie's channel, and I recommend that you do, you can just hit exclamation. We'll try this again. Exclamation point guest or exclamation point compound, since she's the quilting compound. So you can use either Either command, and that will work nicely. But let's see, what am I working on today? Well, I have about 1 million projects going on at once, as everybody knows, and I thought I'd bring a couple of them along with me today. The first one is, and I'm going to get some fans and some people that aren't going to be so happy with me, but it's okay. I decided to work on the sheep from the Fab Farm by Elizabeth Hartman, and I'm almost done with it, and I'm kind of hoping I can finish assembling it this morning. I know a lot of you folks voted for the horse, but you voted for the, well,
Yeah.
my plan for that, I really wanted to try and get both done this week, and there's still hope. I can't promise that I'll get the horse done today, but I want to try and cut it out and at least get it started. So I wanted to try and make as many people as I could happy, but the sheep had less pieces. And someone brought up the very good point that since my wife is such a wonderful knitter, I really should do the sheep first.
Well, that
And,
makes sense.
and
And
I couldn't
I'm
argue with
for
that logic.
horse country, I guess. So I voted for the horse. Kentucky
Oh,
and the Derby and all that.
Yes, absolutely. And then, like you had the Kentucky Derby, and then in Australia, we have a very big race, which actually occurred this Tuesday called the Melbourne Cup. So we had the same thing, just different times a year. Okay, good morning, Nancy. It's good to see you. And my friend Janice from the Right Way is here as well. And she has her own wonderful channel. It's exclamation point Janice, which is Janice. So yeah, definitely support all of my friends. It's always good to hang out and check out each and every one of them because they all have their own wonderful content. Evelyn is here with us as well. Okay, so I'm going to try and work on my sheep if I can get. Oh, now I'm getting all froggy. What's going on here? Okay. Oh wow, Jeanette Vincent is here from rural Oregon, that place out west.
It's way out west.
Way out there. So I mean, it's not even sunrise out there. I always love it when the people come out from the west coast. I don't know if we'll have. I normally have my friends from the east coast of Australia, but since we fell back last week and they sprung ahead a few. Well, the Queenslanders not so much because it's only 11 p.m. there. But my friends in New South Wales, if I have any. It's midnight there already. So
I heard, now I don't know if it went all the way through, Kentucky will be going next year will be the end of falling back, we'll say. So
okay.
I hope.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there.
It doesn't really matter anymore. I'm older now. I don't really get out as much like I used to. So I'm usually up here in my sewing room. So
yeah, that tends to be a hot topic, and everyone has their opinion on it, and it can be a strong opinion. So maybe we'll just leave that alone for right now. I mean, I have my view, and I don't want to really throw it out there and upset anybody. So we'll see what happens there. Martha is here. Good morning. She's a very good friend of mine. Exclamation point, Martha. And then if you haven't checked out Fallon, I mean, I know most of you have. Exclamation point Fallon as well. She's excellent. She's probably like the first YouTuber I found with quilting as well. She says that we're all rooting for you, Sean. The words will come to me. You know what? We keep it real here. Like it is not. If you're looking for a perfect channel, where everything's perfect. I can help guide you to one. This is not it.
Yeah, my channel is not the perfect one either. If you saw my last video, I ran over my dog with my chair. And my son's dog was here and she was barking, and I was like, this is what it is.
Yep, that's how it is. All right, so Jeanette Vincent says, what's my t-shirt? It says the best is yet to come. It's one that I got from my church many years, like 5 or 6 years ago. I just love the message, the best is always to come. And I feel that way, especially in the quilting world, because what I can do today versus what I'll be able to do in 2 or 3 years' time will be so much different because, I look back stuff I did a year ago, 2 years ago, and I mean, it's good work what I did a couple of years ago, but what I can do today is so much better than what it used to be. So I just think it's an excellent message that, that the best is yet to come. So I think that's, I thought it'd be a good shirt to something different. I mean, you see all my quilting t-shirts each and every week, and I'm kind of hoping that, when Christmas Day rolls around, that's, my family buys me more of them because that's what they did last year. And it was really, really cool. So hopefully they'll find some good ones. And Etsy's a great place for that. I mean, people have come up with some really creative t-shirt designs.
That's right. But I think my family probably look at me and all my sewing t-shirts and they're probably like, really? All the time, that's all you wear. And I'm like, well,
Hey, if it makes you happy, yeah, it doesn't really matter. So there you go. Joycey says that she loves your podcast. And yeah, why don't we talk a little bit more about, I actually need to get sewing because otherwise I'll get nothing done. Yeah, why don't we talk about what's on your channel? What sort of videos do you produce, and what would the viewers expect if they go over and hit the quilting compound?
okay, I do some box openings and I do some tutorials. Some of them are more how-tos, and then lately I've been putting the pattern directions on my website. Well, I haven't. I have a college student that helps me do some of that stuff because yeah, I'm too old for that. Uh, I'm not good with technology and all that kind of stuff. So he helps me. He's a friend of my daughter's, and he's going to school for that kind of stuff. So he helps me do all my pattern stuff to put on there, and he actually helps me edit some of my videos too. And some of them I just don't edit. I just go in there and tell you what's in the box and all that. So that is what I do mainly.
Yeah,
I don't know what else to branch out to. I mean, tutorials. I may do some whenever I get better with my long arm. I may do some of those, but right now I'm still really in the beginner stage with it. I mean, I can get a quilt done, but I couldn't put it in a show. I'll put it to you that way. One day,
yeah,
one day.
one day, yeah, and I think that's a great goal to try that one day. Like if it's something
Yeah.
that you're interested in, like
I definitely, I would like to put a quilt in a fair, and I've been trying to come up with a pattern to put in the Kentucky State Fair. And then by the time, time is going by so fast. And by the time, it's fair time. And I'm like, well, I didn't do that. So
yeah, and then you have me that's sits there and thinks about it all year and things prepares
yeah,
for it and that, and then that like puts it to the side, and then about a week before it's due, it's this mad rush, and that's all I think about for the whatever 24 times 7 is beforehand. It's always a mad rush. I actually got done 2 days early this year, and I was very impressed with myself. So
so you
maybe
said your
next.
fair's in November? Is that right?
No, it's September. Like well,
September.
the fair itself is the end of September, but I have to usually drop the quilts off Labor Day weekend.
Okay. Ours is in August. It's, the hottest part of the year in Kentucky you could possibly get.
Yeah, I don't know why they do fairs in the middle of summer. Like ours is in the fall. It's usually, fairly nice. It's not super hot. It's not super
Yeah.
cold. I think Virginia picked a good time to host theirs.
This year I did get to go one time to go look at the quilts with my daughter-in-law, and it was pretty good weather day. But the quilts are inside in the air conditioning, so
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. All right. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Fallon says that's me exactly. The plan sits there in my brain, then the time comes and it's still sitting there. And she'd have
yeah.
it tough there too, because she's out there in Texas, and the Texas
Woo!
State Fair, if I remember correctly, is the world's largest fair. And that one I was reading because I have nothing better to do with my time. I go sit there and read rules and regulations for different state fairs. That one now, I guess it's gotten so big, and I wouldn't be surprised if Virginia goes down this route, is that you submit your quilt. I think their fair's a couple of weeks after ours, so like mid-October, I think. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But you submit your quilts like early September, like you do for Virginia. But if you don't win a ribbon, you pick it up before the fair starts. So it doesn't even go on display unless
Oh,
you
really?
win. I guess it's
Oh,
because it's so big. Like they only have but so much room. Like they don't have the space like a convention center you would for like a
yeah,
typical show. And they've still got
yeah.
to display the photographs and the paintings and the cooked goods and everything else. So yeah, they really have limited space. And I don't know how it is at other state fairs, but Virginia, they have to hang them up in the sky because apparently they were getting damaged. I think some of them went walkabout, which is an Australian word for disappear.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
because that
I
was like
I didn't think we had a lot at the fair this year. I was kind of like, The last time I went there seemed to be twice as many. So I was like, what is the deal? Where are the quilts? And then I thought, well, you should have put one in there, but you didn't.
Yeah, I
Maybe,
know the Virginia.
I don't even know the rules. And I have tried to look up, when it needs to be in, what exactly they want, because sometimes I guess you have to meet certain criteria or whatever. And I can't even find that. I'll do have to do a better job of finding that.
And that's something I would like to throw out to you and to anybody is if you need help with that stuff, reach out to me. I'll help you however I can. But another great resource is if you ever have questions about entering a show, is reach out to the superintendent or the contact provided on their website. When I entered my first show, I emailed and called that lady a number of times and said, hey, look, this is my first time. I do not know what I'm doing. I just want to make sure I do it right. And she was the sweetest lady. Like, she's like, no problem. Here's what you do and that sort of thing there. So do not be afraid to reach out to those contacts that you have and just ask those questions because, there might be a mean one out there somewhere, but I think more than likely they're going to be, more than happy to help you. Especially if you preface it at that you're new and you don't know what you're doing. They'll be more than happy to help you. Fallon says they're running out of room. The population here is booming. Yeah, and the quilt shows, I think, I know the Virginia one, it's it's a whole lot bigger than it was even 2 years ago. Like the 2021 show was fairly small, but last year was a whole lot bigger, and then this year's bigger still. So I think people are starting to embrace the idea of trying to enter into quilt shows, which I think is great. I think it's a lot of fun. And I've really enjoyed trying to compete against others in the state. And for me, part of it is that I wanted to see a gentleman's name on the winners list. I haven't achieved that yet.
Yeah.
I've gotten third place twice.
My husband and I, we went to the Paducah Quilt Show the last 2 years in a row. And you were talking about, wow, those quilts. I did do a short little video of some of them, but sometimes I leave there and I'm like, oh, I got a whole lot of work to do on mine after seeing those. I mean, they are.
It's amazing to see what folks can do too. And I take it as an inspiration because like what someone else can do right now is, like you said, way above what I can do, but it's nice to be able to see what can be done. And we've all got to remember we're all in different parts of that journey. Like I work a full-time job, so I can't sit and sew and quilt all day, every day, although I'd love to. If someone can figure out how that can happen for me, please let me know.
I wish I could. I mean, I try as much as I can, but gosh, somebody's got to cook and do all that kind of stuff around here. That's me.
But yeah, we're all in different parts of our journey. A lot of us started what I like to call like the COVID quilters, started during the pandemic. Some of us have been doing a bit longer. Like I started almost 10 years ago. And then there's some folks have been doing it their whole lives. So, I mean, you have all different.
Yeah.
You do you. Like
I started back in COVID. A friend of mine was looking for fabric to make masks, and I was like, I've got a ton. I gave her a whole big paper bag, grocery bag full of fabric and some for her daughter just to, sew with, play with, whatever. And then I went, oh, why don't I just make them? Because I have a sewing machine. I had the fabric. I did have some elastic at the time and a little bit, but not enough. So I just made the long ties on mine. And then I was like, well, I can go ahead. And next thing you know, here I am. I just dove in head first and haven't looked back. So I'm back in it. I used to sew about every day years and years ago. I did a lot of rack quilts.
Yeah, I started the whole, well, I was already quilting and sewing and that sort of thing by then, but yeah, I kind of jumped into the whole mask thing too, because I mean, people kept asking me, like, you have a sewing machine, so can you make me some masks? I was like, yeah, no problem. So I think most of us that have a sewing machine probably got coerced into doing that at one point.
Oh yeah.
Even if it was just for family, family and a few close friends. I lost track of how many I made. And I was always proud of this number. I think I made like, two or 300. And then I hear people out there did, oh, I did 1,700. I was like, good grief. He's
Oh
like,
God.
now I feel adequate.
That's a lot. Well, then I was doing like, I think drawstring bags, and I did some like tote bags and stuff like that. And just started slowly getting back into it, then really started looking at YouTube more. And because actually when I started, if there was YouTube, I don't think there was. I learned out of a book and taught myself.
Oh yeah, that's how I learned. I went on you. I went to the state fair actually. What was it? 10 years? Yeah, it would have been 10 years ago now. And I saw the quilts and I thought, I want to try this. And my wife bought me this sewing machine that I'm using right here that Christmas. And then I just went on the YouTube. Like I was like, I don't want to go and sit in the classroom and do all that sort of stuff there. So yeah, I learned on YouTube as well. I have not had a formal sewing lesson. Well, I guess I did do home ec back in 1991 and 1992, but I didn't learn anything there.
Oh.
All right, so we've got the top of the sheep. What do you all think of the? Oh, we'll get this right in a minute. What do you think of this fabric for the sheep itself?
I like the fabric.
I'm just picking stuff out of my what's it called? Oh, stash. That's it. See, I'll get the words out eventually.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to, like, everything I'm sewing right now all came from my stash. I'm trying not to buy, but I'm not very good at it. I mean, there's nothing better than going fabric shopping, either at the store or online.
Yeah, I did go to the I did go to a new fabric store the other day because I had to drop my I have two exchange students for anyone that's here that's new. And one of them plays tennis, gets tennis lessons once a week, and it's about 25 minutes from home, and it's an hour and a half long. And I was like, I really don't feel like driving 25 minutes out there, drop him off, come home, sit around for 30 minutes, and then drive back and get him. So there's a fabric store not far from where the tennis place is, and I hadn't been out there yet, so I figured I'd go out there and hang out with them for a while. So
that's what I would be.
And it was a cute little store, and I found some really neat stuff. And you'll have to come back tomorrow and see what I found, because I went out there to get orange quilting thread because I'm doing a t-shirt quilt that I need to quilt this. I should have done it like 6 months ago, but no one's here to judge me, right? So
now here's the quilt I've been working on or said for a year. This is what I've got done. Look,
that's all right. Hey, we all work at our own pace, and that's
eventually. And this is all for my stash. I started kind of collecting as I did a sitar laundry basket quilt. And so I think I have everything I need to make a queen size quilt. And that's sad to say, but I have it all.
That's all right.
So it's going to be all for my stash.
Really, at the end of the day, it's your hobby time. It's your stuff. Like, I don't think there should ever be a negative thing. Like, yeah, if your house is full of if stuff's falling over and you look like an episode of whatever it's called, Hoarders, then yes, we may have to sit there and have a little conversation with each other. But yeah, if you have a sizable stash, I don't see a problem. I do, and I feel like it's nice because I don't have to run to the store every 5 minutes. Like if I see a new project, I can go, okay, look, I can source most, if not all of it, with what I have. And it's to me, it's like an at-home store.
Oh yeah, I definitely.
Yeah, if you think of it that way.
What am I gonna make today?
All right, so okay. So my friend Kay is saying here that she really loves your mason jar block behind you, and I believe that is a pattern that you have available for purchase, correct, on your website? Did I see that right, or did I imagine it?
Yeah, that was and sometimes I'm an insomniac. I don't sleep, and I was literally up at 2:30 in the morning putting away dishes, and I was like, and we have a whole cabinet full of mason jars because we can a lot. And I went, scrap jars. And I wrote it down on a piece of paper, and the next day I started on it and got it done. And then that was my first video.
Yeah, I think it's great. And I don't know, like I always think of like Kentucky and Tennessee and that sort of thing there. Like I think a requirement to live out there would be to do canning, correct? Isn't that kind of like they'd boot you out of the state if you didn't do it?
Well, now my mom does not can anything. She does not can, she does not sew. So I I don't know where I came from, but so we can quite a bit this year. So we have a lot of mason jars, and we also make homemade eggnog at Christmas, and we put it in mason jars and give it away as gifts.
Oh, that's excellent.
So we always have a lot of mason jars. So I looked up there, or ball jars, whichever you want to call it, and I was like, well, and I have a lot of scraps, and I have scraps from when I started sewing, like in 2000.
Right.
I can still go, I remember buying this back in the day. And so I was like, I need to get rid of some of this stuff.
I think it's one of the joys of doing like scrappy projects too. Like you can look back on those projects and all the different fabrics and go, like you said, like you bought this here for this project and this and that sort of thing there. I know I've done that quite a few times, and it's always a lot of fun. Like,
yeah, I still have my first quilt that I made, and I hand sewed it all the way till I got to the borders, and I hand sewed the first border on, and I got to started getting to the end. I was like, wait a minute, it's going to be short. I don't know if I didn't cut right, or when I was sewing, it kind of like shrunk up or whatever with the stitches. And so I had to take it all off, and I had a sewing machine, and my husband was like, won't you just use the sewing machine? And I was like, no, I want to hand sew all this. But after that, I got on the sewing machine and I don't think I've hand sewed anything since.
yeah, my hand sewing looks like a toddler gorilla does it. So I do need to learn how to hand stitch, because every time I get a report card back from the state fair, I always get in trouble for not hand stitching down the back corners of my binding.
Yeah, that's another reason I think I'm like, do I have to hand sew the binding on? Because I still have my quilts that I hand sewed the binding on. I mean, they're still together. They haven't come apart. But oh, I know some people just sit on the couch and watch TV and hand sew their binding on, but
Yeah, and I'd like to learn that, because it'd be something nice for me to take. Like if I go over to my in-laws and have dinner with them, I can't drag my sewing machine. My wife takes the knitting and she can just pull it out and go to town. So I think it's something I would like. I would like to learn. I just have to find the right video or that sort of thing there, because I don't really know anybody else that sews that lives close by that could sit there and teach me. So. All right. Let's see. Catherine is asking you, would you consider sharing your eggnog recipe? What is wrong with me on my words today?
Yeah, I can put it on my website.
Yeah.
My husband, I used to make it every year. Then all of a sudden he took over. He does like a mass production of it, we'll say. I mean, he gets like a 5-gallon bucket and and starts making it out of that. So he's really got into it and took over. So
that's excellent.
And I can put it up. Yeah. He'll be happy to hear that because he likes to share his eggnog.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, no, that'd be great. I think that'd be fun to do. Okay. Fallon says it was a requirement in Michigan. That's where she learned. I think she's referring to the canning. She's also asking, did I have coffee? Yes, I've already polished off. Well, actually, there's a little bit left in here. Maybe that's my issue. Cup number 1.
My cup. It's.
Oh, good evening, Jan. I saw you pop in earlier. Oh, Stitch On. That's excellent.
I got that from Primitive Gatherings.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, since we're talking about coffee mugs, This one here it's called Clay Monsters. Oops.
Oh,
The
like
camera on my phone's on one side and on the computer, which
I
you're
know.
looking
I'm
at
like,
right.
am I looking the right way?
No, it's me. I always forget the camera's in the middle of the laptop. So it's called Clay Monsters. I think she's out of like Pennsylvania or something. We picked this up at a Sheep and Wolf Festival in Maryland a few years back. And the reason I have this one is it's this, and I love this, and I think it was accidental. It's left-handed.
Okay. Yeah,
Because
because when I take out
otherwise,
this one, y'all can't see the stitch on because I'm
yeah,
right-handed.
yeah, I never knew it
I
was
can,
left
I can switch.
right-handed mugs. So my wife's like, yeah, go ahead and take this one because it's left-handed. I was like, oh, okay. I'd never even noticed that. So
Yeah, I've never even thought about that.
all right, Polly says she's in Missouri. I would help you with hand sewing, maybe a Zoom. Yeah, I might have to take you up on that offer. I think that'd be really neat. So yeah, I will. That's something I want to do in 2024. As I keep saying it, but in 2024, you can all hold me accountable to it right here and now because it's now on the internet, so it has to be true. That I am going to learn how to hand sew. I mean, I really, really do want to do it. Like it's not something I'm just not giving you lip service. It's something I do want to do. So yeah, we'll make that work. Okay, let's see. Janice says she loves hand sewing. Good morning, Sarah. It's good to see you as well. Janice says she found a new quilt shop near the Scrap Exchange, a lovely little store. I hope to do a video of it soon. Yeah, that Scrap Exchange looks like Nick. That's a really neat place. I saw you post about that a while ago. I'll have to look at that too. Katie Cross says she went to a new quilt shop yesterday. It was across town and saw the word quilt. Fun little shop with really friendly staff and customers. Yeah, it was funny because like when I went to the quilt shop the other day, they said, yeah, a lot of their customers see the word because it's called the quilt shop. Like, yeah, I think that's a fun name. And they said, yeah, apparently like there's almost accidents sometimes because people see the name of the shop and they just like hit the brakes. So it's out in the country. Like it's not in the city. It's just like on the edge of town, and they drive down the road and they see it and they just have to stop, which I think is really neat that people are doing that. Not the like almost causing accidents part, but that they go in and see the quilt shop, and they're so friendly. I mean, it was a really neat place to go into. I went in there and they asked me if I needed help, and I just wandered around, and I only intended to buy thread, but then I ended up buying a yard of fabric I couldn't leave on the shelf, and then I got a couple of fat quarters that I'm going to make bowl cozies for my 2 exchange students with as well. So I didn't spend a fortune, which is good. But I did get some extra little goodies.
I do like the bowl cozies. I've made quite a few of those. And I actually use mine. So it's not just to have sitting around. I actually use them.
Oh, me too. That's why I like making them. Like I made them as Christmas gifts for my coworkers a couple of years ago. And that's a dangerous proposition. If you ever do that, be prepared to have people come back and ask for 4 or 5 more.
Yeah. Well, and I got the AccuQuilt cutter, and I got the bowl cozy die because one of the local shops, I guess local enough to me, it's called Austin's. They had all of their AccuQuilt stuff like 40 and 50% off. So I was like,
oh, you can't believe that. Yeah. That's the best time to buy it is if you can get it at that sort of.
Oh yeah.
And I really hope I did this right. I didn't look. We might be pulling out my very, very bestest friend in a minute.
Oh.
I don't know. We got a 50-50 shot of getting this right.
These
So
things right here, look, I have them surrounded me all the time.
I have 3. Yeah.
This one's really sharp. And I got another one right there. My mother-in-law, because I'm always talking about I have to rip out stuff all the time. So she just gave me a whole bag full of seam rippers for Christmas in my stocking.
Yeah, I think I did do it backward, and you can all tell me what you think. It's off by about a 1/4 inch at the bottom. It's not perfectly centered. Oh, wrong way. We'll get it right. But I don't think it really, I can't tell unless you measure it.
I was going to say, maybe it's just the way because it doesn't.
Well, I measured it like from here to here, and then from here to here, it's off by about maybe a 1/3 or 1/4 of an inch.
Oh.
So I think I did it upside down, but you can't really tell. I'm not changing it. Unless someone gives me a really good reason in the next 25 seconds why I should rip it out and redo it. It's staying as is. So we're waiting. All right. Teresa's asking who I contact to put together my large lavender village green. I will send you a message later on, and I'll get you sorted out with that wherever I can. So there you go. Fallon's asking, will the AccuQuilt Bowl Cozy die cut through to batting as well? You know the answer.
I don't know because I haven't got it out to use because I got a new cutter too. So I'll test it out and let y'all know. I was going to do a little video on it because I went ahead and did the trade up program too, where I got the electric one because I had the hand crank.
Okay.
So now they have where you can trade up and send yours back that you have, and then they'll give you credit for it, a refund or whatever. So I went ahead and did that. And so we'll see. We'll see if I mean, I hope it does. I think it probably would. Because if it can cut through 6 layers of fabric, then it should be able to. That's actually, I'm using it to cut all these.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
The triangle and a square. So yeah, all these pieces I run it through the dies and I get these right here. So that's really nice. And I'm not affiliated with them, unfortunately. But
not yet. Okay, so I might have to rip this out actually because I'm looking at it now. I'm looking at the pattern where this piece here, the little triangle, is supposed to be on the legs.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
So I think I'm going to have to, if it wasn't for that, although, nah, let's just leave it. I don't care enough.
Sometimes I'm like, it's good enough. Then other times I'm picking, but I did notice on the last quilt, I starched all the fabric and I had to tear some out. And if your fabric is starched, you can really run your seam ripper down through there and get it out really quick. I don't know what the difference it makes, but it does. Yeah, because I know I'm ripping out all the time. The seam ripper is what I call it. They used to call it reverse sewing. I do a lot of reverse sewing, y'all. A lot.
Oh, I did too, and I'm not afraid to show it. Like I know sometimes you'll see some channels where everything's perfect, and like we talked about this earlier. Like if you're looking for perfect, I'm sorry, you have not found that. You have not found that here. I know I did. I'm not afraid to show that I make mistakes, and I think it's encouraging to others because sometimes I've heard this comment a few times where they say you make it look so easy and everything else. I'm like, well, thank you, and people get discouraged sometimes when they see others doing it perfectly. So I think it's important that we show that, hey, just because we're content creators, we're just like you and everybody else. Oh, yeah. Like I'm no different than anybody else. I mean, I'm just a dude that enjoys sewing. So I don't want to ever appear that I'm perfect. Now if I'm putting something in the show, I'll try and make it as close to perfect as I can. It will still not be perfect. Not at all. I don't know that I said good morning to Pat Strawhouse, but I want to say good morning to her. Kay says, I don't know, Sean, that's a pretty serious infraction. The police might be after me. The quilt police. I don't care. The only time I worry about the quilt police is at a show. Like they can police it all they want there. That's their job. But other than that, yeah.
There are some quilt police out there, I'll tell you. I am not one of them, and I try not to critique other people's work because, you don't know what's going on. So, and I did the pressed flowers. I'm doing those videos for the Sew Sampler, and I sewed a whole row on upside down, and I was like, so I had to rip all that out and redo it. But yeah, I rip out quite a bit, and I have made bad cuts on my borders. And I've had to rip the whole entire thing, or I rip part of it and just put a piece in right there and then sew it back. So I make a lot of boo-boos, I have to say.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I think we all do, and I think those that don't are probably either they're very dedicated and they check everything 3 times. Which, if that's you, I'm in awe. But we all make mistakes. But I think it was Ginger from the copycat quilter. She was on my channel here earlier this year, and I loved what she said. You know, because we're talking about my very, very bestest friend, and how much we have to use it. And she said, look, you know, how you need to think about it is that think about the amount of time you have to use the seam ripper compared to the amount of time that you don't.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And if you think of it that way, like you might use it 5% of the time, 10% of the time, 1% of the time, but you're not using it 90% of the time, for instance. So if you think of it in that aspect, you know, none of us are perfect, you know, but, and yeah, mistakes happen, but think about the, you know, think about the percentages and you'll feel a whole lot better about yourself. And I think that was such wonderful advice, and I really appreciated that for it. Okay, let's see. Oh, Becca apparently is here. Good morning. It's good to see you. It's always good to have my friend Becca hang out. And we're going to have her and Ian and I don't know, maybe another special guest who we'll never know, who pops in at her place in a couple of weeks here on Thanksgiving weekend. I agreed to come on and hang out with us for a little while, so I'm really excited to see them as well. So that's going to be really, really fun. We're going to do some more of the pandas when she's here. So let's see. Yeah, Kathleen's saying that if you're enjoying the video so far, please hit the like button. It makes a big difference. The reason we ask for that is that it helps with our videos. It shows us engagement. Comments always show us engagement, likes, even dislikes. If you don't like the video, hit that dislike button. You know, it actually, unless we get like 1 million of it, it actually helps us out. So yeah, if you don't like it, hit the dislike button. How many YouTubers are going to say hit the dislike button if you don't like the video? I don't know, but I've just done it. I'm not taking it back. So
yeah, don't hit the dislike.
yeah, if that's how, you know, and some people do, you know, like occasionally I'll get a dislike, and that's okay. Like I am not everybody's cup of tea, you know, and if I'm not your cup of tea, hit the dislike button on the way out, and then I just hope that you find what, yeah, I hope you find what you're looking for.
I would not do that. I would just go on to another channel. I don't like when people are all negative like that, because you know everybody's just trying to do what they do, and if you don't like it, just you know go watch something you do like. And
yeah, that's what I don't know, but I'd rather them hit the dislike button than leave a nasty comment. So I mean, if that's your two choices, hit the dislike button and move on, and you know, find something that you like. Fallon says she only uses the seam ripper. It's a mistake, changes the whole look of the block I'm making. If it's an off point or something, no mistake. And I'm pretty much the same way. Like if it's, to me, it's kind of like a time. Yeah, is it worth the time that it's going to take me to rip it out?
Well, and most people that don't sew or quilt, they'll never know what you're talking about ever.
Oh, for sure. Like the first puzzle mystery quilt that I did with cotton cuts last year, the Sew Suite. When I went to go put that together, there was several blocks that were turned sideways and all sorts of stuff. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I didn't notice this until now. The only one that's ever going to notice this is, you know, Sheila Christensen, who's the designer. And I don't think she's likely to come banging on my door anytime soon. So I left it. Now, 12 months later, I still haven't quilted it because I haven't found the right backing for it yet. I don't even remember where those mistakes are. So, you know, sometimes I'm with you. Just leave it. Like it's not that big a difference, you know, especially like you said, like, you know, if you're giving it to someone, they're not going to notice.
You're going to put it in a show, I guess, and it's, you know, maybe.
Oh, it's a different kettle of fish.
Yeah. But if it's just for you to, you know, really just to sit on the couch with or whatever, well, I mean, you're probably not going to pick through there and go, oh, I found where I did it. Here's the mistake. So,
and to me too, like it's like I don't want to spend 1 million minutes fixing little things because there's so many things I want to do. Like I've got 1 million projects and there's 2 million more I want to do. I could sit there and perfect everything, or I can just, you know, let it go and move on to the next project. So
what did you fill them with? Irish sail
lady.
They're just scraps. Literally, I just sewed scraps together and cut them into the rectangles, and I literally just went, I did put them by color, as you can see, but it's scraps from way back or just, recent.
Yeah, I think it turns out really, really nice. I think it turned out really nicely. All right, let's go back to the chat real quick because I know I have missed stuff. And if I ever miss a comment or a question that you have, please write it again, and especially it's good if you can tag me at the guy who sews in the chat, because that way it shows up in bright orange for me, and that way I can see it and I'm more likely to see, because there's always a lot of moving parts in a live. I have to try and look at the camera. I'm reading the comments. I'm trying to sew. I'm trying to talk. And they say, gentlemen, can I do one thing at once? And I'm trying to do four. So I think I'm doing pretty well. And
well, I just now started looking at I do have my computer right here, and started looking at the comments. I should have put it under the other thing I'm using. All that good technology lingo I have.
Yep, that's all good. All right. Kathleen says, Becca, orientally speaking, LOL, I love your block pattern last night. Dragonfly Donna says you can always learn something from every channel. I totally agree. I mean, if I go look for a tutorial, I will often go look at 3 or 4 or 5 different ones, and I pull something from each and every one. So I think it's great that there's different options out there. Okay, let's see. Chloe Morgan's having issues with a sewing machine. I hope you can sort it out soon. Sometimes if it gets too bad, I suggest just cleaning it's always the first step I would suggest. And then if it just gets too bad, I know it's going to cost you a few dollars, but sometimes it just needs to go off to a technician and have them just do a nice little clean out. I know my sister had issues with her sewing machine, which was my mother's, and she was so upset. She's like, I think I'm going to have to get rid of it. It's not doing anything right. It's just not doing, I was like, take it to the sewing machine shop. Let them play with it. I said, it's going to cost you, I think it was like $100 Australian, whatever it is. I said, I'll pay for it if you want. And just let them play with it and see what happens. I said, worst case scenario, to say, look, there's a part broken. They can't replace it, but at least you tried. And they fixed, they did the service on it, and it works like a dream. So
that's good. One of my sewing machine I was using, I got it years ago, was I call it a faff off, whatever. The reverse didn't work, and I used my reverse stitch a lot. So my husband was like, well, why do you need that? And I'm like, well, you really do need your reverse stitch when you sew.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So, but they couldn't fix it. The motherboard or whatever in it, they couldn't replace it, they said. So
yeah, that's the one part, especially if it's an older machine, that if the motherboard goes, then you kind of out of luck. And I was a little worried that was going to be the case of Shelley's machine, but I think it just needed a really good cleaning and servicing. And because we lost our mother back in 2007, and the sewing machine was something that Shelley was able to take, and she felt bad originally when she took it. I was like, you can't send it over here. I mean, first of all, it cost $1 million, and secondly, the voltage is different. So I told her, I said, I'm just happy that you're using it. So I'm glad that she was able to get it fixed, and it's running again. All right, so okay, I got 2 questions here that I saw earlier and forgot to answer. I get distracted. The first one came in from Sonia, and she's asking, what sewing machine do I have? I have 2. The one that I'm sewing on right now is a Brother XL 2600i. It's just a basic entry-level machine. I think my wife paid about $80 for it back in 2013 on Amazon. I love the machine. I use it for my piecing. I use it, I think, mostly for nostalgic reasons. I've just gotten used to it. I love it. And then I do have a Benina, was it Aurora 440? That's sitting behind me right here. And I'd use that for all my quilting.
I have a
I like having the 2 machines. I can piece on that one behind me, but I'm not used to it. And I love the foot on this. I don't know. I just like piecing on this one. So that's that. Okay, go ahead.
I switched because I'll go back and forth between the Juki and the Bernina, but I was doing a lot of strip piecing, and the Juki's a lot faster than You know, the Bernina, when I first got it, I was like, oh my gosh, it was so awesome. And I think mine's it's just a 420, 425 maybe. I can't even remember. But this one was just faster for what I need to do. Sometimes I'll switch them out if I need, any kind of zigzag stitch or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I have been
Yeah.
in the other since I've taken over the whole floor up here, basically.
Yeah, no, that's my story there with those. And I love hearing your input on that too. Let's see. The next question I had, okay, so Teresa's asking me, have I picked a tester yet? And the reason she's asking that is that I put out a thing on my Discord group earlier this week that I'm starting to write my first pattern, and it's just gonna be, and I like, let's talk about this for a second. It's not actually a whole quilt top, it's just gonna be a block that I'm testing right now. I want to write like a full quilt eventually, but I figure we'll start small because I want to learn how to write a good pattern, because I think that's important. Like, having a good design is great, but if you can't tell someone else how to do it, then you shouldn't be writing patterns, or you should have someone help you write the pattern. You know what I mean? So I'm starting.
It's hard. I think. I mean, I did that one with the scrap jars, and I really tried to go through every single step, everything I did, but how way my mind works and somebody else's sometimes. And some people are just visual. They can just look at something and they can just do it. I usually have to read a lot.
Yeah.
And if I look at the picture and I do it, a lot of times I should have read. I should have read what the pattern said.
Yeah, see, no, I'm the opposite. I'm visual. If you give me a pattern that has nothing but pictures, I do just fine. I rarely read the text unless I have to. I mean, that's why if you hand me the IKEA instructions, I'm usually pretty fine with it, as long as the pieces are labeled. But to answer the question, I think about 12 people say yes, that they'd like to test for me. And I think my goal, my plan is to have everybody do it. So if you put your application in to test for me, as soon as I finish writing the pattern, which I haven't done yet because I've been doing a million other things, I'm going to reach out to each and every one of you because I'd like you all to test it. Because, I mean, why not get 12 opinions? I don't need 100, but I think the 12 that have already put their interest in, I'm going to have, I'll reach out, I'll email each and every one of you and say, okay, here's the pattern. Please test it. Please give me a feedback. I'll do a Google form so that way you can kind of fill it all out and I'll have it all together in one place too. So it may not, I just think it was easier that way rather than trying to keep up with 12 different emails. They can just fill out the form and say, yeah, this was great, this was not so great, this is where I think you can improve, and so forth there. So yes, if you applied to be a tester, unofficially, you've been accepted.
Well, and it doesn't, if you have people to help you test your pattern, I mean, that goes a lot faster because a lot of the stuff I sew, I may make 2 or 3 trying to get things right in it or whatever and write it down and then try to explain it to somebody else.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
No, it isn't. But we're getting there. We'll get it done shortly. I think I've got it figured out. I just got to sit down and write it and draw the pictures and that sort of thing there. So that's that question. I want to say good morning to Laura Lynn. She's here from Mom and Pop Shop, and you can do !mom for her. Let's see. Dragonflies of Donna is asking if someone with dyslexia sees a thumbs down as a thumbs up, or is it all like right to left thing? I think I'm partially dyslexic. I think it's more right to left. So let's see. Okay, Chloe says she can do a block and not a full block. Yeah, it's just a block. It's just a very simple block. I think it has about 20. Yeah, it has about 25 pieces in it, if I remember correctly. It's not super complicated. I would not say it's like super beginner friendly, but if you're an advanced beginner or above, I think you could do this pattern quite easily. I don't want to show the block just yet. I want to kind of keep it under wraps until the testing phase is done, just because it's fun there. So let's see. Okay, that's what I was going to do. So I'm getting distracted. I have finished my little sheepy block.
And you're cute.
Yeah, I don't think the little part down the bottom where it's upside down really matters. I mean, you can't really see it.
I think you look at his face more than you do.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're looking at the wool and the face and that sort of thing that I don't think you're really going to notice. It's going to be a baby quilt when it's all done, and I really don't think the baby's going to care.
No, no, I think you're good.
It's not gonna be a show. It's not a show quilt. It'll be gone well before the next show. So there you go. Jan is asking, I think the answer to this question is yes, but she's asking, is the mason jar quilt pattern in PDF?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, because she's over there in Western Australia, so the shipping cost to her to get a printed pattern would be very, very expensive.
I learned the shipping cost for me if I went through PayPal, because you had to get a tracking number at one point in time. I don't know. I stopped doing it because it was going to cost as much as the pattern. And I was like, well, I can't do that. I can't. That is, shipping. Whew.
Yeah. I got to ship something to my sister very soon, and it's still lightweight, but I'm kind of scared to see how much it's going to cost me. But we'll.
I don't know if because my daughter was in the Navy, she was stationed in Japan, and I shipped stuff over to her, and I don't know if it's because it's military, if it's less. I don't really know, but it never seemed like it was that much to ship. So is there a difference going to a military?
Okay, so to answer that question, if you're sending something to like an active duty military, or anybody's military, if you send it to an APO or an FPO box, which is the military boxes, you only pay domestic rates.
Oh, okay.
Because what will happen is you give it to the post office will send it to whatever location it is. They know where to send it to. It'll get transferred to the military at that point, and then the military will distribute it through their network from there. So the nice thing is, for our wonderful people that protect our country, you can ship them stuff and not pay the overseas rate, which I think is absolutely awesome. We've sent stuff to military members in the past, and it's been really nice that we didn't have to pay the standard rate to Japan or Europe or wherever they're serving at that particular time.
I thought it was reasonable because, usually it was sending boxes of stuff at a time.
Yeah.
It wasn't just an envelope or anything like that. But shipping it to get you.
Oh, yeah. No, I had to send something to my father once. It was a letter, I think it was. And back during COVID, when I had to send it, the only option we had was like super, super fast express. And I think that was almost 80 American dollars for a letter.
Gosh. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was scary. All right. So since we're talking about military and so forth, it is Veterans Day, although you may know it as Remembrance Day if you're in Australia or Canada or some other parts of the world. It's a very important day. And I would just like to take this moment to say thank you for anyone that served in the military in any aspect. And if you're a spouse of a military person, I feel that you served as well in your own way, because you had to support your family and that sort of thing there while your spouse and or family member was out on deployment. So thank you all to your service. And if you have served in any branch of the military in any country, because we do have an international audience, I'd love it if you just put something in the comments or in the chat if you feel like you want to, just to let us know that you did serve and help us out in that way. And then that actually brings me up to my next project, which is
my husband was also in the Navy. So my husband and my daughter were both in the Navy.
Very nice.
My brother was in the Army.
My grandfather was in the Australian Army, and my father-in-law served in the U.S. Army. I think that's the only two in my families that served. But I live in a very big military area, Norfolk Naval Station, which is one of the largest. Well, it's the largest on the East Coast.
That's where my stationed was Norfolk.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I see that all the time.
Before we got married, he was already out of the Navy.
Very nice. We also have the Marines are based in Fort Story, which is not far from here. The Army's up there at Fort Eustis. I think we have every branch of the military represented. Yeah, the Coast Guard's like 4 miles up the street from us. The military in this area is very, very big and very, very important to us. Fallon says she didn't serve, but her husband served in the Marines. I think the Marines are just amazing people. The amount of training that they go through is amazing. So Let's see. Remembrance Day here, yep, in Canada. I do remember that. I know my Canadian holidays pretty well because my day job, I do customer service for imports, and I look after all my customers in Canada. Let's see. Dragonfly for Donna. Hubby was 30 years plus in the military. Chloe says thank you to our veterans. Teresa Lynch says her husband is a disabled veteran. Thanks for that. Kathy says, thanks for that, Sean. I was in the Army. My father was in the Navy in Norfolk. That's very good. I love that like it's the connection a lot. So many people. I think Martha's husband was in the Navy up in Norfolk as well. I'm not sure if she's still here with us this morning. I know she was popped in here earlier as well. So Pat Strawhouse says both mom and dad served in the Royal Canadian Air Force. See, I noticed the Royal Canadian Air Force during World War II, and my late partner served in the RCNCA in the 60s. Now that one I don't know. Royal Canadian Navy. Navy,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. I've actually I know again with my day job, I've actually worked with a few different branches on the military or shipments and that sort of thing there, and I always think it's neat to communicate with them as well. So
see, I'm not far from Fort Knox.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, you can hear them actually in their maneuvers sometimes around here. And they also host softball tournaments and stuff. So my daughter would play softball on the Fort Knox, I guess. What do you call it? Their softball complex.
Okay. Oh, very cool. All right. Okay, let's see. Fallon says she always feels safe. Husband was a sniper. I had no idea that Matt was a sniper. See, I'm learning all sorts of cool stuff today. Pat Strawhouse was in the Navy, the Royal Canadian Navy, the RCN, I guess, was what I think.
My husband's a search and rescue swimmer.
So wow.
They dropped him out of helicopters and stuff. He has a picture of him dropping it out of helicopters. And I'm like, no way, no way.
Yeah, see, I think that'd be neat to do, but I don't think I would have ever made it through boot camp because I don't like people yelling at me. So I have so much admiration for the military members, but it just would not have been something for me. Jan saying she's trying to purchase the mason jar pattern, but not letting anyone else having this problem. Shoot them.
Well,
if you can't solve it, just send Jamie a message and she'll get you all squared away. Do you mind giving the email address out?
It is the quiltingcompound@gmail.com.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure I had your permission to do that.
I have too many email addresses.
All right, so my friend Shannon is here from Slay Arts. You can hit !Shannon for her. She says, good morning, everyone. Better than late than never. Absolutely. You can all show up whenever you want. Happy Veterans Day. So Becca says, I think I need coffee. When Jamie reached for a coffee cup, I literally expected her to show up in front of Sean. I had to remind myself that she's not in his room. No, we're about 12 hours apart, I think. So Janine Vincent says she was in the U.S. Army from 72 to 75. Husband was from the U.S. Army 72 to 75. And father's U.S. Army World War II 39 to 45. Yeah, my grandfather was in World War II too. World War II as well. I think he served mostly I think during the war, I think he was mostly in Papua New Guinea there as well. So he never talked about it much, which is usually not a good sign. Okay, but yeah, one more time, I just want to say thank you for everyone that served or was involved in the military in any way, whether it was yourself or a family member or a spouse, because in some way you're all doing that as well. Okay, Jamie, do you like the movie The Guardian? I immediately thought of that movie when you said rescue swimmer.
I don't think I know what it is. I am not.
Me either. I'll have to go check it out later.
Movie watcher, really. If it didn't happen way long time ago, I don't watch any new movies, or I don't even know if it's new. I'm bad about that.
Not sure. Janice says her grandfather served in World War II as well. That's really, really neat. All right. Mona's here. I think I said good morning to her, but maybe I didn't. Who knows? I get so distracted. Um, Mona's dad also served in the military. Yes, it's amazing to hear how many people were in the military. So, oh, okay. Yeah, I think Shannon has. She should have a Shannon. Let's see if this works.
Well, I'm at my screen here. It's coming up. The only, I'd have to order it myself. So I will see. I'll have to call my computer guy. that does
Yeah,
it.
Jen, just send Jamie a
I'll see if
message.
it works.
Yeah, and then she'll get you straightened out one way or the other. So yeah, that's not an issue. Kathleen says Becker is say holler at Ian to grab you a cuppa, but it's early, might be a surprise. Don't want him to stumble down the stairs that he's finally made friends with. I'll ask you one if it helps. Ian's out. That's right. He's long gone. He went out to play tourist in DC today because she's about 45 minutes south of Washington DC. So if you haven't had it, it's a great place to go visit if you haven't seen it already. All right, so let's get this organized. We'll actually try and get some of this poppy done. We won't get too far, but
Well, I'll show you what I've got cut.
okay.
All of these, which I sewed them last night so I could cut them today. So those will all be 4 patches to go beside my star block. Well, it'll go like this. So I have a whole lot of these to make. I had the count somewhere. Seemed like there was like 128 of them. So that will be a lot.
That'll keep you busy for a while.
Yeah. A long time.
Yeah, we're saying we hope that Ian doesn't fall down the stairs today. Yeah. I hope not either. There's a lot of stairs in the DC area.
Fall down the stairs, fall out of the chair, burn the house down. I heard it all last night.
Yeah, those two are always a hoot together. If you haven't seen Becca's live with Ian or any of her lives with Ian, you have to go check them out. It's a great and it's wonderful entertainment. You'll definitely get a good chuckle out of it, and it's probably going to be a lot of fun in 2 weeks' time when they're here with us, because who knows what those two will get up to with me. So that'll be a fun little thing to look forward to in a couple of weeks. Okay, Kathleen says, Beck, it's barely 6 a.m. I have to stop and think. You'll be up for a hot minute. Yeah, I just am so enamored that so many people hop up so early to watch me each and every week. Like I'm not that exciting, I think. But
I got at 5 something this morning, only because I couldn't sleep, which is the story of my life. But yeah. I think I like to be up in the middle of the night. That's usually when I wake up. That's how I did the scrap jar pattern, is being up in the middle of the night, and a few other ones. So that is I don't sleep a lot, it seems like.
Yeah, I think a lot of us creative folks don't sleep a whole lot. I mean, I think if I get more than 6 or 7 hours, it's a good night. But that's okay. Would you consider yourself a morning person or more an evening person?
I think it probably depends on what I'm doing. I would say it's sewing. I do, seems like I sew more in the evening. I do all my other stuff earlier in the day. Okay. But I can't sew into too late of night, because then I do end up making mistakes.
Yeah, I'm more the same way with that as well. I think I get more done in the morning.
Oh, I got it, Janet.
Okay, yep. So yeah, you guys will get it. She'll get it sorted out. So all right, so we are making some progress on the puppy, which is nice. Okay, and I appreciate everybody's patience and understanding why you see just how dysfunctional I am some mornings. Like, we just keep it real here. Like, this is there is no redo. I can't hit stop record, re-record like I can during my podcast. That's a little more. Yeah,
there's no edit.
No, there is no edit. Like it's well, actually there is. I can go and edit this afterwards, but like I'm like, nah. You
Eh,
you get to see the whole effect. Like this is just how it is. If you enjoy it, wonderful, and if you don't, then there's plenty of other videos that I have that you can watch as well. Oh, my friend Amy Dement is here, and I actually had a question that had her as the inspiration. I'll get to that in just a second, but it looks like Heather is here as well. She says she's permanently exhausted, and I can understand that because she has a lot of the little tykes of her own. So, good morning, Heather. It's good to see you. But yeah, the reason I was talking about Amy, I was going to talk about her, is we were in, I think, Fallon's Live the other night, and they were talking about how people like their eggs. And Fallon's husband does not like runny eggs, but he doesn't like scrambled eggs because they usually taste like rubber. We're having a good chuckle about this. And so
Oh,
people are talking about how they like their eggs. And I think Amy's response was the best ever. And her response was she likes her eggs in a chocolate cake.
and a chocolate cake.
I was like, that is the best answer ever. I
That
love
is
that. So
so.
that,
Yeah. Well, we have chickens. So, I mean, so we have our own eggs, and
oh,
there's a big
wonderful.
difference between, the eggs you get at the store and your own chickens. The
Mhm.
yellows or the yolks are they're almost orange.
Yes. Oh,
They're
yeah.
so
It's totally different. But I love a good farm fresh egg. So, yeah, but they are a totally different color. Okay, so I think Heather should be under exclamation point Heather. I think I have her in, and if I don't, I need to add her. Let's see if it works. Yes, okay, she's in. Perfect. Okay, so I did do something right. Okay, so this leads me to today's question. So,
and
since the best way to have eggs is in a cake,
my
what
left
is your favorite type of cake?
mine.
Yeah.
I really like the old fashioned yellow cake with chocolate icing.
Oh, very nice. Okay. And I'd love to hear in the chat, or if you're watching as a replay, because I know a lot of my people do, because I'm on super early. I'd love to hear in the comments, what is your favorite type of cake? Because that's going to be today's question. Okay, good morning. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for hanging out with us, John and Curtis. It was really nice having you out here for a little while. We don't get to do that very often because you're up super early. But that is awesome.
It is.
But yeah, let us
So
know in the
Becca,
comments.
that is, well, I did it. I made that quilt to look like stained glass. I did a video on it. This is just the smaller version of it. I forgot, excuse me. I forgot what the video is called. I think it's stained glass.
Okay. Yeah, that's a question from Becca. Can we talk about the quilt hanging over Jamie's left shoulder? At least it looks like a left shoulder. The one it looks like stained glass. I love a good stained glass quilt. I mean, I think that's such an amazing, effect that you can get with a quilt. And it's not something I really
Yeah.
paid, really knew existed until I started seeing them at quilt shows. But I love a good stained glass quilt.
Well, especially with batiks. I mean, it's called
Mm,
kaleidoscope stained glass. I did a big version. That's just a smaller one I did for the wall hanging. And I was going to hang it in where my long arm is. And then I went ahead and I kind of redid a little bit in here, a few things. So I hung it up in here.
yeah, I think it looks really, really cute. And that's something else I'd like to do next year is make another stained glass quilt. Because I've made like kind of a stained glass quilt in the past, but yeah, I think I'd like to do something. I got a bunch of batiks laying around that need a home, so I think that'd be a good way for me to do it. Okay, so we've got some different answers here. Carrot cake, it's one of my favorites. My
Yeah,
work mom makes like the best carrot cake ever.
I do.
I love those. Entenmann chocolate bumpy cake is another answer. Let's see, Black Forest cherry cake or Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte, as you would say in Germany. We made those in German class back in high school. I love those too. Jan says chocolate and beetroot cake, so delicious. I don't know if I've ever had that. That's a new one. Chocolate cake, chocolate cream cheesecake. Now we're talking about cheesecake. That's probably my answer is either a good cheesecake or a pecan pie. Love a good pecan pie. Don't get them very often. Well, that's not really a cake.
I like peanut butter pie.
Peanut butter. Okay. We'll talk about maybe that'll be next week's question. I'll have to write that down. We'll talk about pies next week since it'll be pre-Thanksgiving week. So think about your answer for your favorite pie next week. You're getting question early. Don't answer it now. We'll wait till next week for your favorite type of pie. So there you go. Jeanette is asking, what material is your white design walls made out of?
Well, one of them is just flannel, and I just rolled out a piece of flannel, and my husband stapled it to the wall. And the other one is a like an insulation board, and it has a polyester batting, an old bag of batting I had, and I think he stapled that on there too. So it's actually two different things, and the flannel works just as well. That's what's holding up all the red blocks is flannel, and the other one is the insulation board with the polyester batting.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. Like my design wall is made out of laminate because it's a floor.
Well, I still use the floor sometimes too. My dog, he always wants to lay on the quilts when I put them on the floor. I mean, he would pose for I have pictures of him like laying on the quilt posing with them. Mm-hmm. So I cannot, but he sheds really bad. So I have to keep it up off the floor as much as possible.
Yeah, all of my dogs, every dog I've had has posed on a quilt. Mine do the same thing. As soon as you lay it down on the floor, it's like, oh, Daddy, you've given me a quilt to lay on. Yeah, and the first photo I take is of them sitting on it because I'm like, they want to be on it, and then it's like, out you go. Like a lot of times I have to go feed them, get rid of them for a little bit so I can actually take a photo of them without it. I think the Village Green quilt that I did the other week, I think the only photo I have of it right now is of Finley sitting on it. I'm just like, I don't care enough. Like it's okay if she's on there. So there you go. Pat Strawhouse says carrot cake for her, but I consider cheesecake a food group. I am definitely on that bandwagon. So, and then Donnell is asking, how do you hang the flannel on the wall? Is that the one that's stapled on there?
Yeah, he's stapled. I think it's stapled. Yeah, it is stapled.
I mean, if you have drywall, you could probably get away with just putting push pins or something in there.
This room it's literally the craft room. When we moved in here, we didn't do anything to this room, unfortunately, because I wish I would have replaced the floors and all that kind of stuff, but I didn't. So, I mean, I've got I stick pins in the wall, and because it is what it is. So I'm gonna, if we ever move from here, I'm gonna have to do a lot of work in here to have it ready to sell.
Yep. Yeah, would be the same way. So, but that's okay. All right. So we've got this and this. We'll probably wrap this up in about 5 or 10 minutes because I actually do have to. You might notice my hair is like long and unmanageable right now. I got to go get my hair cut afterwards because we were supposed to do it. I think we had appointments like 3 weeks ago, but we ended up rescheduling it because when we were supposed to go was the same day that we our first exchange student, well, the first one of the two we have here right now, noticed there was a Czech festival up in the Richmond area, so we went up to that instead because it was really, really important to him. So I don't mind that we waited 3 weeks, but it's really, really getting unmanageable, and I keep like pushing it away. And yeah, it needs to be cut. So when you come back tomorrow for my podcast, my hair it'll be short. Yeah, you'll notice, and then you'll get to see which videos I recorded that were released next week before I had my hair cut and after. So that'll be something for you to look at too. So let's see. Good morning, Maria. It's good to see you. Sorry.
I said I'm hoping I'll have a video out next week. If I can get everything done. It just takes a little bit.
It does. It takes a lot longer than you might think it does. Like if you haven't tried doing this, like a podcast of mine, an 8-minute video. I mean, it depends on the week and how many takes I have to do and all that mess. But I think from start to finish, it might take me 2 hours to produce.
Oh, yeah.
Because I sit down and do an outline of it first, what I'm going to talk about, because I don't want to sit there and just ramble. That's what a live's for.
Yeah.
And then, I go through and record, and then I do some basic editing and upload, put my notes in. Yeah, so it takes a little bit. All
Yeah.
right.
See, now my box opening, I do not edit anything. It's almost like it's live because, and sometimes I probably should edit. Every now and then I'll go back and listen and go, that's not good. And that's not
Hmm.
right, but whatever, this is it.
Yep. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you do you, and I think a lot of people actually like that. That it's not super edited and polished. But I mean, at the end of the day, you do what's best for you. Like as long as the content is good, that's all that really matters. Okay, so Amy says she has to run, so I can make a coffee date and scrap fabric pickup. I'll definitely catch the replay. Have an amazing weekend. If you have not checked out Amy's channel, you need to do so. She is wonderful. She does a wonderful. If you want something polished and perfect, Amy is
Yeah,
your girl.
I'm subscribed.
Yeah, she's done such an amazing job in the short time that she's had her channel. I want to be her when I grow up. But yeah, she does a great job. It's excellent. Should be exclamation point Amy. She was on here a few weeks ago, and yeah, she's got a super fun channel. You do need to go check that out because I'm a big fan of hers. So all right, let's see. I think we'll go ahead and wrap things up in a minute. So do you want to tell us, like, since we're talking about videos and stuff, what do you have on your books, or what have you got planned coming up soon? Like, it doesn't have to be this week, like in the next month
Yeah.
or two, even.
I have a Jelly Roll quilt. I actually have it made already. That I'm going to do another one for a gift. I have to trim all the back off of this because it's white background, and I don't want all the threads to show through. So that one will also be a gift. So I'm going to do a video of that, and then I've got my charm pack coming up, and then I've had on my in my head another jelly roll. See, I can't get off the jelly rolls. Video. It's gonna take a little bit. It's hard to get it all laid out where everybody will understand what you're saying in your video. That's why I've been putting up the directions on my website, because people
Yeah.
are like, I don't understand, I'm confused. So I've got those three things right off the bat, and I've got a few things in my book that I've been trying to get together, but so we'll see. But right off that, I've got two jelly rolls and charm pack.
Yeah, and I think I've got to check that out because I've used the jelly roll once in my 10 years. And that was to make a temperature quilt out of, because there was 42 different colors, and I figured that was a good way to get started. And someone gifted me a jelly. I don't know if it's a full jelly roll or a half jelly roll. I have to sit there and look. And I've never done anything with it. So I think what I might have to do is watch, because I don't know that I really want to do a jelly roll race. I want to do something, something a little different. And I don't have the time or the patience for a jelly quilt at this time. So I'll have to check out what you're up to, and maybe that'll give me some inspiration as to what to do with my jelly roll. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Well,
Okay.
I want to do them quick. I don't want a whole lot of little pieces. I mean, just a little bit in there.
Yeah.
But I will leave some long strips because I kind of do. I like to get it done,
Yeah.
and at
No, I
least
think
get the top done.
yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. So I'll have to check out what you come up with, because instead if it's something fun, it might, even if it's not
Yeah.
exact, it'll be some good inspiration. Because I think I've had that jelly roll now for close to 2 years. I need to do something with it. So
Well, that was my thing. I was like, okay, I have these jelly rolls and I'm not doing anything with them. I have got to figure out something. And the next thing you know, I think I've done 4, 5, uh, I think 4 tutorials, I think.
oh, very
So
nice.
now I'm starting to lose track. So
All right. So with that, I know we've talked about what you have, and I'll have my podcast tomorrow as usual. If you haven't seen that, it's just a weekly recap of what I get up to each and every week. But I think most people that are watching this already know what that is. But yeah, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. I have a bunch of different projects to show you. I had a really, really good sewing week. I got a lot of progress done, a lot of different things. So do not miss that. And then I'll have my time lapse of Village Green coming out next Wednesday evening. So you can watch that. And then I might have, yeah, the
it's,
cut cuts one.
I've looked into that. I haven't I haven't went there yet. I don't know.
Go check out the website. Because the sign-ups start in about 3 weeks, and there's some really cute colorways for that. I just put the link in there if anyone's interested. I think they've got like 12 or 13 so far, and there's a lot of different options. So yeah, keep an eye out, because I think I know some of the more popular ones are going to sell out. There's like one really bright one called Juicy, I think it's called right now. I think that one's going to go because there's a lot of buzz behind that. That's the one that I would love to make, and I may end up hitting the buy button on that. We'll have to see. I don't know if I want to do 2 at once, but we'll have to see. But that's a lot of fun. So they'll come out Wednesday. You'll see Village Green come together. I did a time lapse of like the pieces coming together. I thought it'd be a lot of fun. I haven't done that before, so that'll be fun. And then hopefully I'll get the White Rabbit block time lapse out either this week or next. I mean, he's done. You'll get to see that tomorrow, but depends on how quickly I can edit that video. So that's what I have going on. But I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you that joined today. If you're watching the replay, please leave a comment. I always love hearing, who's watching and that sort of thing there, because I see numbers, but I don't know who. And thank you for everybody in the chat. I always love hearing from you. And if you, again, one more time, if you served in the military, thank you so much for your service. It is really, really appreciated by myself and everybody else. So I hope you'll have a great day. Happy sewing, and we will see you tomorrow on my channel for my podcast. And definitely go over and check out Jamie's stuff, because she has a lot of fun stuff, and I think you'll really enjoy her channel as well. Oh, okay. Let's see. Where can you buy larger width fabrics for backing?
Usually has a lot of wide backs, and my local quilt shop has wide backs. So
yeah, I've been buying a lot of my wide backs recently off Etsy.
Etsy?
Yeah.
I haven't gotten off Etsy yet.
No, I mean, I just bought. Yeah, I bought one for the stuff I got for Lorenzo's quilt the other week. I bought that off Etsy, and then I actually went back to the same store and bought 2 more backings for 2 more t-shirt quilts the other day.
And I noticed I went to a few quilt shows, and if they have vendors set up, there's usually booths for wide backings.
That's true. I've forgotten about that. Yeah.
Around you.
Yeah, okay, and Pat says that Connecting Threads has wide backs. Oh, okay. I did not know that. That's really interesting to know, because Connecting Threads has apparently their thread is really, really good, and it's very reasonably priced. I have not tried it yet, but I need to.
I don't think either. Where? Oh, my stomach's growling. Where?
In fact, Quarter Shop, Missouri Star Quilt, and local shops. Yeah, my local quilt shops don't usually have a big selection of wide backs, unfortunately. It never seems to be the right color that I need. Yeah. So that's why I tend to buy my wide backs online, just because I don't have the local availability for what I would need. I mean, they have it, but it's just not. And then if you want something, I've bought the wide back stuff from Joann's in the past, and it's been, it's not the world's best quality fabric, but I've been happy with it. And if it's in the right color, I'll buy it from them. I'll buy it from them too.
They have a good variety. It's Busy Lady Quilt Shop in Mount Washington, Kentucky. So they have a small wall of them. So I'll shop there every now and then for them. But a lot of times I piece my backs, unless I'm in a hurry, because I have so much older fabric. I try to piece it and use it. Yeah,
and that's if it's a smaller one, I'll put it together. But I mean, I've had like one of the t-shirt quilts I'm piecing together right now. That thing it's queen sized, and I don't want to mess with that.
No.
If it's lap size, I'll just go buy. I usually just get Kona cotton because it's like $6.29 a yard, and just put it 2 pieces together. But if it's something big, I'll buy something bigger.
That's a goal I have. I'd like to do a quilt with some solids one day. I don't do a lot of solids, so one day on my list.
That's pretty much all I do is solids. So there you go. All right, so Fat Quarter Shop, Missouri Star Quilt, Connecting Threads, Etsy, all good options. Joann, that's it. What was the other one? Marshall Dry Goods, which is a different company. Well, I think it's like a one store thing in somewhere out in the West.
Yeah, I hear Tiffany talking about that store.
Yeah. And
The Big
someone,
Field Life.
yeah, someone in my Discord group actually went there the other day and was talking about it. And I forget where it is. It Arkansas or forget? I don't know. Anyway, they has some really neat stuff. If I ever get out that part of the country, I'll definitely go take a look.
Yeah.
But yeah, just keep an eye out for the just search for I also just Google 108 wide fabrics and see what pops up, because that's a good, you might find a sale that way as well. So
Oh yeah.
that would be my suggestion, is just Google it as well, because that's a good way to, that way you might not, you won't miss something, if that makes sense. All right, but okay, it is Arkansas. I got the state right. How about that? Yay for me. So
What'd you get?
the Arkansas was where Marshall Dry Goods is.
Oh, okay.
I thought I for some reason I think it was Arkansas, but I'm like, I'm probably
Uh-huh.
off by a state or two, but I actually got that right. So thank you, Catherine, for confirming that I got it right. You just made my day. Thank you so much. Okay, but with that, I do need to go, because I've got to do a couple of things before I go get my haircut. So I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. It was a lot of fun hanging out with Miss Jamie. If you haven't seen her channel, please duck over. The link is in the description if you're watching the replay, and then if you put in ! Guest, which I'll do real quick before we run away, you can do that as well. And yeah, that's it. So that's us for today. Happy sewing. I hope you get some stuff done. I hope Jack gets to stay in his little home, and we'll see you all on the next video. Happy sewing.
Thanks for having me.
Thank
Bye-bye,
you.
y'all.
Most welcome.